Since this veil is a necessary component of the growth of Moloch, it is by definition present at every level of the structure. Meaning each of his servants will be able to perceive what is happening below it, but have a very limited understanding of what is being decided above it, let alone how far upwards the structure stretches. This enables Moloch to create and maintain the illusion for each that they are at or close to the apex of the hierarchy, and thus part of the exclusive club of non-victims, creating an army of slaves by making them believe they are masters. The engine of the structure is powered by two connected beliefs he instills in his servants. First, that they move up the hierarchy by establishing more and more layers beneath them, which, relatively speaking, might be true, but in an absolute sense obviously does not change their level of freedom. And secondly, that the freedom of choice they used to have, which they still somewhere remember, is to be found at the apex of the hierarchy, so that they look outside of themselves for the thing that they can only find within. Ironically, the exact inverse is true as symbolized by the narrowing shape of the pyramid structure, which implies a further constraint of freedom when ascending the hierarchy, often referred to as rules for rulers. This inverts the common perception that the slaves are to be found at the bottom of the hierarchy. Seeing this clearly cannot not induce a sense of compassion and understanding, especially for those deep down this vicious cycle, no matter how twisted their minds have become along the way. Recognizing that they are trapped in an endless pursuit of recovering something that they never truly lost. However, for healing to take place, miracle consciousness first needs to pierce the veil. Because of the whole structure being clouded in secrecy, this is not a straightforward task. Since the transparency fades very quickly, the deeper one tries to look inside the mind of Moloch. This seems very unfortunate for miracle workers who seem to be limited by this fact to only deal with surface symptoms, rather than being able to address and heal the deeper roots of the wound. However, luckily we are not limited to this specific direct investigative epistemology. Because the deeper a mind descends into the darkness of the structure, the more domesticated it becomes, which is synonymous to saying the more predictable it becomes. Meaning exactly where the direct investigative approach starts to fail, Moloch starts to converge ever more closely to a purely causal machine that can be readily described by the physics of fear. We thus can, with a high level of certainty, extrapolate from the visible surface into the depths of the structure by studying the principles of domestication. This allows us to understand the nature and aspirations of Moloch himself, without needing to identify and study all his individual servants. Akin to how there's no need to study each individual cell of an organism under a microscope in order to understand the organism's nature and behavior.